Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Sunday International Big Book Workshop. Great to see you guys. I'm Dan B, recovered alcoholic. This workshop is facilitated by Brother Kemble H. This study relies on you listening, but please, we pray you have a big book in hand and follow along with a pen, pencil, or highlighter. Make any notes and pause if you have to. Also, write down any questions and we'll take them at the end of the meeting. We will keep everyone muted during the workshop except the facilitators. Any inappropriate behavior will not be tolerated and you will be removed by one of the co-hosts. This meeting is being recorded, the audio portion only, and only of the facilitators. And then the recording will be stopped at the end of the workshop before taking any questions in order to preserve your anonymity. So have a really great meeting, everyone. And how we start here is with the step 3 prayer found on page 63, if you care to join me. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Kemble.
All right. Thank you, Brother Dan. Hey, and happy Sunday again, everybody. My name is Kimball. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Welcome to the Keystone Sunday International Big Book Workshop. In this meeting, we go through the program of recovery. We started at the very front of the book, and we're going to go all the way through the book, taking people through the program, not just the fellowship, right? See, I was in that fellowship for over 30 years. I was in the fellowship in and out, and I kept on drinking because I'm thinking I'm in AA, but I'm just sitting there going to meetings because they tell me meeting makers make it. But every time I went to a meeting, I ended up getting drunk after the meeting, each meeting I went to. So something was wrong. Well, I keep going to meetings, but then I ain't making it. I'm still drinking. See, meetings and the fellowship and the program are two different stories. See, here in this big book, this is what we find: the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's helped millions today to recover from alcoholism. When I was 12 steps through this thing, it brought about a change, an incredible change. It's not a psychic change, a personality change, but, whatever the change was, it led me to a relationship with God, and it solved my alcohol problem. Wow, what a blessing. Thank God for that. So this is the end of step 1. Step 1 goes all the way to page 43. Today we're going to be starting on page 41. So if you got your big book in hand, you can open it up to page 41. I'm going to reflect a little bit on what we finished up with last week about my man Jim, right? Jim is my man. I call Jim my main man because he couldn't see it coming. Just like this matter that we deal with, the malady of the mind, we can't see it coming. But we can have the best day in the world. Everything in life is all fine and dandy, and all of a sudden, someone say, "Get that drink." Boom, we get that drink, and of course, if we got that physical energy, which is the first symptom, we're gonna get drunk because our body gonna demand more. I know in my instance about George, and I took that first drink, my body was hollering, screaming, "Fool, you better put something else in there." And I was just craving because it said I was craving inside me, and I had to put more and more in there. Then the more and more I put in my system, the more my body demanded. I got thirstier as I drank, and I couldn't quench this thirst no matter what. It was beyond my mental capacity to shut off this physical energy. We can't do it. Science ain't figured it out. Alcoholics Anonymous ain't figured it out. NASA ain't even figured this thing out. See, we suffer from something that's unexplainable. And I look back, shoot, I had this physical energy 40 years ago, right? I drank for 42 years. Shoot, I had this physical energy when I was a teenager before I joined the military. Because I remember going to my first duty station. The first day I got there and signed in, shoot, I took a drink. I don't remember nothing to the next morning. I went to the park, but I don't remember nothing to the next morning. I left with my platoon sergeant, and I woke up the next morning. I was in my room. I don't know how I got there or what happened or nothing. I guess I was a blackout drunk. But that's what this alcohol does to us. It destroys our brains. But you know what? There is hope. Because this program So welcome to Alcoholics Anonymous, the story of how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. You know, I used to see these old timers in these meetings, right? Well, 30 years sober. I'm still recovering. Well, shoot, what you recover from? A drink from the day before? The book promised us that we recover from this thing. Shoot, just like I go cut my darn finger, right? I'm recovering from it for a short time, but sooner or later it's gonna get well. It's gone. The problem is gone. Just like Alcoholics Anonymous, we find that power that's greater than ourselves. We gain a connection with that power, and that power simply solves our problem. There's no doubt about it. So let's dig into the mind. That's what we're discussing, the malady of the mind. So last week, I'm gonna touch a little bit here on page 40 here, dealing with drive on 41. So my man Fred, you know, he didn't think he had an alcohol problem, right? But then on page 40 it says, we heard no more Fred for a while. So one day we were told that he was back in the hospital. I can relate with Fred. I've been in and out of so many hospitals and psych wards and places due to alcoholism. Flat on my back. Boom. Ain't know which way was up. But anyway, he soon indicated he was anxious to see us. He's talking about some members from Alcoholics Anonymous. So the story that he told was most instructive. For here was a chap absolutely convinced he had to stop drinking. He had no excuse for drinking, who exhibited splendid judgment and determination in all his other concerns in life, yet he was flat on his back nevertheless. That's what alcohol do for us. So it's pretty appropriate today. You know, today we got awareness of alcoholism. See, this book was started, this program started back in 1935. But you know, fast forward 90 years later almost, we got education programs, we got justice systems. So many people get to AA, you know, before they lose everything. You know, hell, I lost everything a whole bunch of times due to my alcoholism. So we might see people come to AA, they might still be married, they still might have a job, then they still might think if they suffer from this physical allergy, they still might think, well, I'm okay. Shoot, I can drink. I ain't lost nothing. I'm not alcoholic. I told myself that a lot of years. Well, I ain't lost nothing, so I can't be alcoholic. It didn't matter if they told me I better go. The military tried to, they made me go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I went, but they didn't offer what I wanted. I thought they were going to fill up my liquor cabinet when I ran low. So I told the commander when I went back, I don't like that AA stuff. I ain't going back. I don't have a drinking problem. Years later, alcoholism deterred. That was a lie, because years later, here I am getting in trouble. But consequences didn't make me alcoholic. The fact was, when I took a drink, I simply could not stop. You know, some alcoholics, we still might have a car, right? But I bet so at some point, if we got a car, the license gonna get took. Should I drove around on revoked license for drinking and driving for 20-something years? And then when I used to get stopped, I tell them, well, somebody took my license and then they write me a ticket, take me to jail, whatever, for revoked license. The too many DUIs to get you a revoked license. So I didn't get but 2 in my career, but then I wouldn't pay the fine. They ended up had to go sit out in jail. And I said, shoot, I don't need a license. So I kept on driving, drinking and driving. I didn't shoot them. I don't care about the police. They ain't gonna stop me. I got away with it for a lot of years though, but you know, that's the insanity. That's what I'm talking about, the part in the mind, the insane part. So one thing about it, when we start talking to people about the insanity part, they say, hey, don't tell me I'm crazy. I ain't lost nothing. I got my job, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I had a job too. I drank on my darn job for 28 years. But some days I couldn't even go because I was busy drinking and they'd be looking for me because, you know, it was crazy. But what we talking about, can we distinguish the true from the false? Can we see that when we take a drink, can we control it? And my answer was no. People used to talk about you can't control your liquor. I said, well, let me show you. I just get a bigger bottle and pour it down my throat and someone say, look, I can outdrink you so I can control it. Later on, here I am passed out, being fell down, or whatever the case, go to jail, whatever. But I still thought I had control, no doubt. So if we think we can have control, We don't think we got a problem. Then if we can't, then that's where we can see that we are insane. You know, my alcoholism was just like playing Russian roulette. Shoot, I was playing with fire, right? I take that drink and pull that trigger, and I didn't know how I was going to react afterward. Wow, near-death situations many times. Just a deranged life. But anyway, talk about my man Jim. Then we're gonna get on Fred for a minute. Now, for a drunk like Jim, right? It's probably easy for him to see his insanity because he ain't lost everything yet. But for a high bottom drunk that hadn't lost a lot of stuff, it's a little bit more difficult for these type of people to see that they might have a problem. But I'll tell you this right here. Let me share this with you. Whether you're a low bottom drunk or a high bottom drunk, if you get drunk, you're going to get drunk the same way by believing something that is not true. I used to tell myself, I can take a few drinks. I'm going to stop at 4. I'm going to stop at 5. I was telling myself a lie. I was living in a delusion. You know, good and well, when I took that first drink, I wasn't going to be able to stop. Then I tell myself, yeah, I can stop. Now, a little bit about my man Fred. We ain't talking about Fred now. So the top, let's go to page 41. So he went on to say, as I crossed the threshold of the dining room, the thought came to my mind that it would be nice to have a couple of cocktails with dinner. That was all, nothing more. I ordered a cocktail in my meal, then I ordered another cocktail. After dinner, I decided to take a walk. Okay, right here. He has no obsession here, right? So he just thought it was fine to take a little cocktail with his dinner. But it's in the mind, but he ain't obsessing over it. So he took him a drink, ate him a meal. So then he took him a little walk. So then he goes on to relate. When I returned to the hotel, it struck me a highball would be fine before going to bed. Now, a highball is simply a mixed drink in a very tall glass. That's what they called it back then. So I stepped in the bar and he had one. I remember having several more that night and plenty next morning. I have a shadowy recollection of being in an airplane bound for New York and finding a friendly taxi cab driver at the landing field instead of my wife. The driver escorted me about for several days. I know little of where I went or what I said and did. Then came the hospital with unbearable mental and physical suffering. No, he said he had a shadowy recollection of being in an airplane bound for New York. A shadowy recollection. He's probably in a state of a blackout because things we can't remember. But then I can relate with him. But when he got to the landing field, right? He got on that plane, he got in the landing field, he found a taxi driver instead of his wife. That's pretty insane right there now. Your wife's supposed to be waiting at you, waiting on you, and here you is. You don't even know where you been, so you don't know where your wife at. She probably done been there waiting on you and you didn't show up. So, you know, power to him. I remember when I got off the plane coming from Panama Canal, expecting my wife to be at the airport. She wasn't there because of some crap I done did overseas, right? Shoot, do the alcoholism. So she was pissed. So, well, so I don't care. Just get pissed. I just give me another drink and move on. So I didn't care. So anyway, talking about Fred. Fred a little bit different than Jim now, right? Fred didn't lose anything once again. And Jim didn't feel too much the day that he got drunk. So Fred is on top of the world the day that he got drunk. Everything was in place. But he got drunk the same way because he believed in a lie. He believed it was okay. I can drink. But he had this physical allergy, right? So that's living a lie. If you drink with this physical allergy, you're telling yourself a lie. So, Fred's state of mind. I think Fred began to get drunk right along here on page 40 when he said, I reasoned that I was not so far advanced as most of you fellows, that I had been successful in living my other personal problems, and that I would therefore be successful in where you men failed. I felt I had every right to be self-confident, that it would only be a matter of exercising my willpower and keeping on guard. Willpower could not solve our alcoholic problem, no matter how hard an alcoholic can try. Now, if you're a regular drinker or a moderate drinker, yeah, your willpower will work. Look at our first example. He used his willpower for 25 years. But after he retired, he pulled out, he got on that recliner, put on them carpet slippers, and he started drinking. He had this physical allergy, and he was dead within 4 years. You see, we can use our willpower to a certain extent, but it's not enough. The physical allergy gonna forever be there. So we take a drink after 25, 30 years, boom, we're gonna be right back from the day that we left off. So here, the illusion that Fred living in, he began to think, well, this staying sober stuff is real easy. Nothing to it. Now, Fred's real problem, as I say, he got a physical allergy to alcohol, and he has a form of insanity. That's what we're working on, talking about the insanity. Tells him it's okay to have a couple of drinks with some cocktails and, a couple of cocktails with dinner. So the real problem with Fred is centered in his mind. The mind say, okay, let's do it. My mind used to tell me the same thing. Shoot, let's do this thing. Let me get me a drink and I can face today. Shoot, I face today drunk. Not even know where I'm at half the time. So the problem is centered in the mind rather than in the body. And the body tells us, it ensures us that we can't drink and stop. No, we got this physical attitude. There ain't no stopping. It's on and on. So, like I said, everything in Fred's life was beautiful. But the thought, see, I had to hammer this home. The thought, uh, and we don't even have to obsess about it. Though Bill Wilson talks about this being obsession, but this malady that the alcoholics suffer from, it's an unexplainable event. It comes out of nowhere. We can't see it coming. We can't feel it coming. We can't touch it coming. When it comes, boom, let's get a drink. And you get that drink and drunk, and the whole thing over. And this is repeated over and over again. It was repeated over and over again for me for 42 darn years, trying to solve my own alcohol problem. Talking about, yeah, my self-will to do it. I was successful in everything else in my life, except when it came to alcohol. Alcohol put me flat on my back. My brother can testify for this because he's here. He already know my story, so he already know. So everything I share is real life experience. But thank God for this program. So let me go on here. Bottom of page 41. As soon as I regained my ability to think, I went carefully over the evening in Washington. So here it is. This next few sentences is going to be in italics, so it's very important. It says, not only had I been off guard, I had made no fight whatever against the first drink. This time I had not thought of the consequences at all. Key word, he had no fight whatsoever against the first drink. Here on page 43, let's go to page 43, bottom paragraph, the last paragraph. It says, once more, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink. No effective mental defense, except in a few rare cases. Neither he nor any other human being can provide such a defense. His defense must come from a higher power. Basically, what it's saying, a sick mind cannot fix a sick mind. Because my mind was sick. When I was living in a chronic alcoholic mind, I couldn't fix myself, self-knowledge, self-will. I could learn everything about alcohol, but then I still would drink because I had no defense. But the solution is found in this program of recovery. Bound in the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. It not only solved my alcohol problem, but it solved all the other problems in the world. I still have problems today. I have problems every day. But today, by taking the steps in this program, I have a defense against that power. So a little bit more about this. We talked about old Roland Hazard, right? Earlier on in the book, he had the same idea that self-knowledge would fix his problem. Boom, but it did. Even our co-founder, Bill Wilson, had this crazy idea. Self-knowledge would it'll fix my alcohol problem. And then Fred here has the same idea. But I done learned this. You fellas, I agree with what y'all done said, but I can do it myself. I done learned self-knowledge and it'll fix it, but the lie detector determined that was a lie. He could not fix his own problem. So Bill is trying to show us examples here, right? That they all had a problem in the mind. Bill just took us through all these different examples to tell us, once again, once more, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink. His defense must come from a higher power. My higher power is God, the creator of the heavens and the universe. Alcoholics Anonymous, they have different perceptions, which that's fine, no problem, because we got atheists in here, we have agnostics in here, but I just happen to be a true believer. I don't force my beliefs on nobody, but this is a all-inclusive, all-exclusive, so there are different ways. People go on different paths to find a solution, right? Follow the steps in this book, and you can find it. So, solution here. A couple of notes. Like I said, once again, we can't heal a sick mind with a sick mind. Self-knowledge will not cut it, but the more we try to think our way out, the deeper into it we get. It must come from a higher power. Our defense must come from that power. But see, people in the fellowship in them old meetings, right, they said, think the drink through and all of this. Call your sponsor if you want to drink. But I'm sitting there trying to, if you telling me to think a drink through, hell, I can't think no drink through. I'm going to get one. That's how I used to think it through. So that's why I kept staying drunk out there. And in this fellowship, they're telling me stuff like this. Think it through. Shoot, I got a problem in the mind. How am I going to think a drink through when the problem is already here? No, I got to have a solution. Without a solution, I'm going to drink again. No doubt. Even though I grew up in the church, right? But then I had joined this organized religion. None of that could solve my alcohol problem. So I was facing what we alcoholics face, a dilemma of faith. We got to believe in something that's outside of us, more powerful than we are. Shoot, I used to thought I had all the power to fix my alcoholism, but it didn't work. But anyway, let's go back to page 42. No, yeah, page 42. I want to go to the next, almost at the bottom of the page. Last paragraph, pretty much. It says, then they outlined the spiritual answer and program of action which 100 of them had followed successfully. There's the answer right there. It says a spiritual answer, right? Okay, this is still step one, right? We at the end of step one almost. You know, step one is we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives were unmanageable. So if we powerless over alcohol, we need to find a power that's greater than ourselves. So, you know, then we realize lack of power. On page 45, it tells us lack of power. That was our dilemma. And without connecting to a power, who I call God, we keep drinking. We ought to keep drinking, right? But see, it goes on to say 100 of them. See, there's 100 men and women put this book together, right? And thank God for it. It don't, now, all of them didn't stay sober. A lot of them probably did relapse, but not all of them. But anyway, the spiritual answer, step one, we smashed that delusion that we can't drink like other people to be like other people. We smash it. Boom. I'm powerless. I got to find power. So then we'll be starting on step two next week. And it starts on page 44, right? But the spiritual answer to an alcoholic, it begins in step two. Yes. See, we insane at this point. We trying to find a way out. So, but anyway, let me cover this right here in step two. I'm going to go to page 58 right quick. Now, page 59. Okay, step two. It says, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, right? We got to come to believe in something. And if we take step two, I'll take the rest of the steps, right? In order, like I had to take them. It's clarified, confirmed in step 12. We take 2 through 12. In step 12, it says having had a spiritual awakening. That's the solution. A spiritual awakening, a spiritual experience, a psychic change, a personality change, whatever kind of change you want to call it. As a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So step 12 is the answer, but it starts in step two, meaning when I got to this point in the book, I said, yeah, I got to take these steps. If not, I'm going to be dead. I'm going to keep on drinking. So I had to take the rest of the steps that's prescribed in the book. Bill gives us a recipe for success. And it's been working for, what is it? It's 89, let me see. Yeah, 89 years so far. I think it'll be 90 years next year. Yeah. So they already did this thing. I hear people in the media say, I'm just working my program. Okay. I don't know about y'all, but my program kept me drunk. Shoot, if I did things my way, shoot, I'm drunk again. I'm high again. I'm insane. I'm acting crazy. I'm wreaking havoc in the world. So, that's my program. Now, these people program. They put it together for us so we can follow what they did. It's their experience. And then we can connect with what they done put down in this book, and we can relate to it in our lives, and we can get the same solution that they had. That's the beautiful part of this thing. So back to page 42, bottom paragraph. Though I had been only a nominal churchman, see, there we go again, the word church, true enough. Their proposals were not intellectually hard to swallow, but the program of action, step 2 through 12, though entirely sensible, was pretty drastic. It meant I would have to throw several lifelong conceptions out of the window. That was not easy, but the moment I made up my mind to go through with the process, I had the curious feeling that my alcoholic condition was relieved, as in fact it proved to be. Yes. Now it mentions the words, we had to throw away several lifelong conceptions. Yeah, if I was trying to follow religious conceptions, if I was trying to follow what the church people was telling me, uh, means I got to change something. My thinking got to be changed because the way I'm thinking at this point is not working because I'm still drinking. So I'm gonna need to find a better way. I'm gonna need to find something else, a new way of thinking. That's the problem. Our problem is starts in the mind. So, and it reminds me and how it works. And the result was nil until we let go. Absolutely. Have to let go of these old ways of thinking. Well, I used to could do it this way, and I used to could do it that way. But anyway, whatever I was doing, my thinking wasn't working. Shoot, it wasn't working until I had to change some of my beliefs. That's just the bottom line. And when I became defining, they were telling me I couldn't distinguish the true from the false. I seen it. I couldn't see it at first, but I know it was true. If I took a drink by George, I wasn't gonna be able to stop, and then I was gonna get to acting crazy, and then the behaviors kick in, and all heck breaks out. So, you know, so here's Fred. Oh, Fred, he finally admitted he was an alcoholic. He was in a hopeless condition. But then what solved his problem? He did the 12 steps, and it solved all his other problems too. It solved all our problems because I'm a living witness as I sit here today. This program outlined in this book solved my problem, all my problems. So now at this point, where did I stop at? Okay, I stopped at the bottom of 42. Okay, so then as he was going through with the process back in bed, he said that was not easy. First of all, it's simple but not easy. That means a price had to be paid. It meant destruction of my self-centeredness. I had to get out of that thinking I could do the job myself. Self had to be removed. Self was the problem. Yes, self always is the problem with an alcoholic of my type. So, but then going through with the process, we talked about step 2. A confirmation was step 12. And now, come talk about step 3 just for a minute. Where we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him, right? So that's a decision. It starts in the mind, right? It means we got to make up our mind. Do I need to continue with the process or can I stop right here? I stopped there so many times because I get there, I make a decision, but then making a decision, it just I got drunk again, right? But I didn't want to go through with the process. I really didn't. It took me years to go through to decide that I need to take these steps when I couldn't solve my own darn problem. So it couldn't do it. But then step 3 is confirmed. In step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So remember, 2 and 12 are step 2 is confirmed in step 12. Step 3's confirmation is step 11. So by the time we get here, we should already be practicing step 11 because step 11 covers 24 hours a day. Page 85 through 88, as a matter of fact. Uh, yeah, page. Let's go there for a minute. Yeah, let's go to page 85 for a minute, y'all. It says at the bottom of page 85, step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be shy on this matter of prayer. Better men than we are using it constantly. It works if we had a proper attitude and work at it. It will be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. Here, peace, is where it takes a lot of humility. If we don't have no humility, we'll be stuck right here. In my case, God gave me some humility, and I had to recognize that, yeah, I need to do this thing. I really do. I need to take these steps. And then, talking about step 11, how we should be practicing step 11 from the very beginning because it covers on page 86, it talks about when we retire at night. Like we woke now, right? So when we retire tonight, it says we constantly review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? And then it's got some other things. That's for the night, you know. I pray all through the day and all through the night. Personally, uh, that's just my thing. And then again, it goes on to talk about on awakening. See, we're gonna go through the night, we're gonna review our day, then wake up in the morning. This is on awakening. Let us think about 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. No doubt. Self. It's because it talks about self. Selfishness, self-centeredness. Self. We have to realize I'm the problem. Self is the problem. As long as self is running the show, it's gonna run it. No doubt about it. And then again, it says in thinking about our day, this is all day long. We may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here, we ask God for inspiration and intuitive thought or a decision. Amen. No doubt about it. Ask God to direct our thinking. No doubt. That's the thing. So that covers, on awakening as we go through the day. And then when we retire at night, step 11, it covers all parts of our day. So let me roll back. Okay, on the bottom of page 42, it goes on to say, quite as important was the discovery that spiritual principles will solve all my problems. That is so true. The alcohol problem can be removed. The solution for step 1 is what we're about to finish up. Is take step 2. The problem is step 1. Yes, no doubt. We don't, hey, the step 1 promise, right? Means we're going to drink again. If we still got a problem, we're going to drink again. If we don't smash the step 1 delusion, we're going to do it again. I did it for so many years. So, then again, back to the bottom of 42. I have since been brought into a way of living infinitely more satisfying, and I hope more useful than the life I lived before. No doubt. More satisfying, and I hope more useful than I ever lived before. This thing brings me to working with others. Let me share this with y'all and working with others. When we get to that point, and there's no timeline on helping others. As we know, the man Ebby Thatcher, he helped Bill Wilson and everyone, but he wasn't even 6 weeks sober when he can bring a message from the Oscar group to our co-founder Bill Wilson. And then here on page 89, it's talking about helping other people, right? It says practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when all other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. Remember, they are very ill. No doubt. Life will take on new meaning. So true. So the book on page 43, it goes on to relate. My old manner of life was by no means a bad one, but I would not exchange its best moments for the worst I have now. I would not go back to it even if I could. In this point here, no, I never want to go back to that point, even if I could, because I already know the results, right? But look, with the alcoholic, these thoughts will pop up sometime. We'll tell ourselves, I tell myself sometimes, let me solve a problem. I might need to get me a drink. But that's a foolish, insane idea. But you know what? I got God. I simply talk to God. Ask God, remove this thought from my mind. Boom. And he shows up because he never leaves me. So I don't have to worry about taking a drink. As long as we keep our spiritual condition intact. Boom. See, the problem being removed. But what hadn't been removed is self. So we still got to battle with self. Self gone. Because we can't run nowhere and leave our body. We can't leave self behind. Self go with us everywhere we go. So we got to deal with self. We got to deal with our mind. And we got to deal with our bodies and everything connected. See, when alcohol became our master years ago, it didn't matter. That was just it. Did nothing else matter. Nothing. But thank God today a whole lot of things matter. I would not go back to it even if I could. And that's something that I live for every day. Because every day seems to get better. I don't care how bad I'm hurt, however I feel or whatever. It just gets better every day. So Fred's story speaks for itself. We hope it strikes home to thousands like him. He had felt only the first nip of the ringer. Only the nip of the ring. So he wasn't too badly screwed up like a lot of us do when we come to Alcoholics Anonymous. Shoot, we in pretty bad shape. At least alcoholic of my type. But these programs are different programs that send non-alcoholics into our meetings because they might have got a DUI, speeding ticket, and had been drinking. They might have jaywalked like the jaywalker we had over here, right? They might have got a ticket. Well, I'm gonna send you to A because I smell alcohol on your breath. But some of them people, they not alcoholics. So, but just said, back to the book, it says most alcoholics have to be pretty bad and mangled before they really commence to solve their problem. No doubt. Y'all know what? My crazy thinking, uh, shoot, I didn't think alcohol was the problem. I didn't think I was the problem. But shoot, they were piled up high as the Empire State Building. And I'm still saying, I'm not the problem. Everything else is the problem. I'm not the problem. Shoot, but I'm here. I'm the biggest problem in the world. I was the problem. But it took me to see this. Because I suffer from a dilemma. I suffer from something that I was beyond my control. But then I remember trying to battle, trying to control my drinking. If we sitting here trying to control our drinking, we can't enjoy it. And if we want to enjoy our drinking while trying to control it, then we still ain't enjoying it, because we done lost all control. Those real alcoholics done lost all control. So, back to the paragraph here on page 43. Many doctors and psychiatrists agree with our conclusions. See, for most alcoholics, what these doctors and psychiatrists see, the only solution, and it starts way back in the doctor's opinion, the only solution is 12 steps. In our case, psychic change, spiritual This answer is spiritual. We can talk about it all day long, but anyway, without a spiritual solution, us real alcoholics, we'll drink again, no doubt. So then it goes on to say, one of these men, staff member of a well-renowned hospital, recently made this statement to some of us. What you say about the general hopelessness of the alcoholic's plight is, in my opinion, correct. As the two of you men whose stories I have heard, there is no doubt in my mind that you were 100% hopeless apart from divine help. Here they're talking about God, divine help, 100% hopeless. That's the state of mind and body that I was in for years. I was a hopeless, helpless alcoholic, just like Bill Wilson, just like Dr. Bob, Roland Hazard, and so many others that helped put this book together. And then the doctor goes on to relate, as you offered yourselves as patients at this hospital, I would not have taken you if I had been able to avoid it. People like you are too heartbreaking. Though not a religious person, I have found profound respect for the spiritual approach in such cases as yours. For most cases, there's no solution. He is talking about us real alcoholics. There's really no other virtue, no other solution except spiritual. It's not church. Going to church ain't gonna solve our problem. But spiritual principles will. No doubt. No, we're talking about a connection. The next paragraph, we start on that next week. I don't want to start on it right now because I want to be thorough like I try to be. So next week, we'll be going into we agnostics. And then we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down real hard. So, as a matter of fact, anyway, the dilemma that we're facing. So to help us with this, Bill wrote this chapter called We Agnostics. And I'm going to tell you, my personal experience, this is one of the greatest pieces of spiritual information I've ever read in my life besides the Bible. When I was drinking, reading the Bible, it didn't do me no good. I didn't have a connection, right? When I was preaching, I didn't have a connection with God, But the difference today, taking the 12 steps to find a way to get this connection with God. See, people in my religion, they told me, they said, well, we can help you spiritually, but we can't do nothing about your alcoholism. I can recommend you to go see somebody. They can help with the alcohol problem because it's out of my league. Alcoholism, it's above all our pay grade. So, as I dug into it, we agnostics. And I studied it. See, it's a textbook. I studied this thing. I could see some of my old ideas, prejudices about God and religion were wrong. See, I've been reading from growing up, I had my own thoughts. I thought everybody else was wrong. My mom would tell me to do one thing, and I want to do it my way and get my butt toe up behind it, right? Because I had my own mind. So my beliefs and my thoughts had to change back then, right? Until I got grown. And then they just went all out the window. So when I could see where my old ideas were wrong, then I could get rid of them, right? Then I could accept some new ideas about this program, about God, and then I could make a decision, right? Without that, I couldn't make no decision. So there was no way I never could have made the decision about God until I tossed aside my old prejudices that I might have had about God, the prejudices I might have had against this book, because I always thought I could solve my own problem. I said, I don't need this book, I don't need this I don't need these meetings, I don't need this fellowship, I don't need none of this stuff. Until I found out what the program of recovery was found out, or was found at. And it led me into a relationship with God. It solved my alcoholic problem. So, my ideas, emotions, and attitude that I had, it came when I was a child. Like I just shared, I had my own kind of conceptions of God, a child who I used to go outside and look for God in the sky and I couldn't see him. Then I get pissed off at him. Then I said, well, God, why you create me if you're going to try to burn me in hell forever? That's the thoughts that was in my mind. So, I had to get them ideas out of my head. So what I couldn't accept then, by coming to this program, I can accept new ideas today. I had to cast away all my old ideas. And it gave me new ideas and emotions, this information in this book. caused me to actually change all these crazy ideas. Man, so talking about we agnostics. Matter of fact, let me read this last paragraph one more time, then I continue. And it's just right on time. So we see step one, we're hopeless, we're powerless, all this because it's the last part of step one. Then I can't wait to get into step two next week, and we're agnostic. So it goes on to say once more, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink, except in a few rare cases. Neither he nor any other human being can provide such a defense. His defense must come from a higher power. Notice higher and power is capitalized, so it's referring to God. His defense must come from God. I know in my case, my defense had to come from God. See, I had to quit playing God a long time ago, else I still been drinking. So, we agnostics. Couple of things. I did a lot of research, and I really love to do a lot of research on everything. So the root of the word gnostic, it means knowledge. The first part, AG, it means without. Put the AG in front of it, and you get agnostic or without knowledge, right? No knowledge. See, the atheist, right? He don't believe in no kind of a God, but he do believe in himself, don't he? So he has no knowledge of God. He don't want no knowledge of God. But the agnostic, they can go either way. So we agnostics means those of us who are without knowledge, right? So that was okay. That's all right. And the knowledge that I did have was no good because I was still drinking. So I can say I was an agnostic in the beginning, right, of this program. Because I wasn't no atheist. I believed in God. I believed in God. But I just didn't think he could solve my alcohol problem. But, he almighty, all powerful. And he solved my alcohol problem. So Bill had the same experiences, that we did. We had the same experience that Bill had. But when they presented Bill with the solution, he was aghast at that solution. Now, he's seen his best friend. Last time he seen, they finna lock him up in the asylum somewhere and throw away the key. But here he come 2 months, not even 2 months later, 6 weeks as a matter of fact, at his door, his face all lit up. He was sober, and he told him he found religion. Well, we know religion don't solve our alcohol problem, but he's trying to tell him he found God in that Oxford group. So, and Bill seen this in him, and Bill said he would have his thing too. And so, thank God, it became to see Bill. Bill was sitting there drinking. It was taking him through the first 3 steps. Bill said, let me get me another drink. But they gave him a program. So Eric presented him with the solution. For some of us, we may be excited about the solution too, right? So Bill said, and then I'll be about time to shut it off. I'll tell you what Bill said. When he talked of God personal to me, my mind became irritated and my mind snapped shut against such theories, and certainly that's the way many of us reacted. Later on in the big book, it tells us that when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. The spiritual malady. When we speak of the spiritual malady, it's the condition of all human beings, not alcoholic. We alcoholics got a physical allergy. That's what makes us alcoholic. The understanding of the God of my understanding. So, when that is straightened out, we will straighten out mentally and physically. So, when we dig into the we agnostics in the next chapter, we are going to see how it's done. No doubt. We're going to see what that power is and all that good. See, lack of power, that's our dilemma. So, an alcoholic like us, we need to find a power greater than ourselves. It's just like that light switch here, like my computer right here. If I unplug this thing, I won't have no power. That's what it was in my alcoholism. I was unplugged from power, so I kept drinking and killing myself. But thank God, I reached out to God and got a connection with Him. But He came into my life, boom, now I got power. So I plug my computer. If I unplug it, I ain't got no power. But I keep it plugged up, I'm going to have power. And I can run off that power, and the power is not mine. Oh, no. Left up to my power, shoot, I'd be a train wreck right now. Thank God I'm not. And happy Sunday, everybody. I thank everybody for being here. And God bless. And you can get it, Brother Dan. We can close it out. If anyone got any questions, comments, disputes, or whatever, it'll be open for a minute. after the meeting.
No worries. Just